Kanye West's Bully was a roller coaster of a rollout, but now I've had a few days to sit with his 12th studio album. I'm ready to give my thoughts on it. I'm ready to tell you what I thought he did well, what I thought he did badly, what my favourite and least favourite songs were, as well as my overall thoughts on the entire album as a whole. We've come to this point in Ye's career where we don't know who, let alone what, we're going to be getting on release. Could it be AI? Could it be horrendously offensive? Could it be depression inducing? That's what we've been trained to expect over this past year of his releases. With Bully, we got a unfinished demo tape of songs, which on the surface sounds really bad, but there are a few real good quality finished tracks mixed in here, which I think could be seen as some of Ye's best work over the past 5 years. It's quickly become one of his most frustrating albums of all time for me, alongside Donda, thanks to how unfinished it sounds. Despite this though, when Ye does decide to put in the effort and finish the songs on the album, they come out really well, and there is a lot to love. The sound of Bully at its best is very intimate and dark while staying fairly cohesive. I love the dark production that is present on this project, and I'm really excited to see where this goes in the future. The sound is fairly consistent from front to back outside of a couple of songs such as White Lines and most notably Last Breath, which we'll come on to later. The first half of the album is pretty great actually, starting with King, which showcases Kanye's ability to still create great experimental industrial music. I was so glad to hear his actual voice over the top of this. When I first listened to it, I was so happy it wasn't just all AI. The title track, Bully, is another one of my favourites, carrying on this experimental theme with a more minimalistic direction, and this western guitar leading the entire thing, all the while these synths and strings play in the background. Ye also gives one of his best performances on the album here, alongside CeeLo Green, who gives this aggressive dark hook, which I thought was really excellent. In terms of my favourite songs, this is closely followed by All the Love and Sisters and Brothers, the former quickly becoming a fan favourite because of the Andre Troutman feature and the fact that it's one of the more accessible songs on the album, with this sort of like dance beat mixed with these intense sort of drum sounds, which makes it really catchy overall. I'm very glad that it didn't stay as Gas Chambers, and that the entire like cuck World War III Cousins era is over for the time being. Following on from this, Sisters and Brothers, another one of my favourite songs here. It's got this kind of fuzzy bass line, which if you've heard the song you'll know it sort of tickles your brain. It's that sort of synthy production style. It's also one of the only songs on the album that I actually think Ye does a fairly good job lyrically, diving into the turbulent parts of his last few years of his career. Father featuring Travis Scott, another fan favourite, which gives us some of the energy that we had on Utopia and Yeezus. I enjoyed the way that the beat jumps between this gospel sound on one hand to the more intense industrial noise on the other. I thought that Travis gave the best performance out of the pair. With Kanye kind of sounding a bit sleepy on his half. That brings me on to one of my main criticisms for the album, which is that unfortunately Ye doesn't seem to be fully with it vocally and in terms of production for the entire project. As much as I like the energy on the intro track King, he sounded sedated for most of the other songs. The vocal mixing is unfortunately another real weak point for the album. I thought on songs like Mama's Favourites, which is, as I've said a few times, this is one of the songs which actually had potential to be quite good if it was put out in more of a finished way. The vocal mixing unfortunately does sound really off for the entire track. However, I do love the sample from the documentary Genius at the end, which is Ye talking to his mother Donda, which is quite a heartfelt moment for the entire project, especially knowing the context of the scene that was from, as well as what later happened with Donda losing her life. As much as I like soul samples, and as much as I do enjoy what we did get of the shorter tracks here, I thought songs like Punch Drunk and Whatever Works are so short that they're essentially interludes at best, and at worst they're unfinished songs. There is so much potential here which is just, it's been left on the table. It's so sad. Another example of potential being left in the studio is Highs and Lows. I shouldn't have checked out what the original sounded like, because it makes the new version really disappointing, and it sounds more like an intro to another song instead of being its own fleshed out moment on the track list. If they could have cleared the sample and used the original, I think it would have been a legendary song and probably my favourite on the album. There is also likely some AI still on Preacher Man and potentially Beauty and the Beast. Some of the vocals do sound a bit weird on that track. However, it's hard to tell because the vocal mixing is so bad overall, but it could just be poor production on their half. instead of using AI. But we'll never tell. It's hard to tell these days with entire albums being put out in AI, with my gym putting AI music on now. Instead of using real artists on Spotify, they just have a playlist on shuffle which occasionally plays weird AI songs. It's sad the direction we're going in, but I don't particularly mind AI in the production process, using it as like a substitute to substitute vocals in, but using it on the final product is it's so disappointing. Going back to some of the samples that they've used on this project, I actually laughed out loud when I first heard White Lines, because that sample sounds so out of place. It sounds so wrong to be on that song. It doesn't work at all, in my opinion. We also don't need Circles to exist, no matter how much Ty Dolla $ign enjoyed that song. It is atrocious. One of the worst things he's released in terms of production. Unfortunately, we've had worse songs lyrically on the whole. The same goes for Damn, which, even though fans tend to enjoy this one, I find it incredibly repetitive and quite bland. We also really didn't need Kanye singing in Spanish on Last Breath. That song is so forgettable, and it does not fit on this track list at all. I have no idea why they included it here. Lyrically, Bully is pretty boring, as I've said before. It's not too surprising from a Kanye album. Most people don't go into his projects looking for lyrical genius, even though we have had songs like Family Business, Saint Pablo, Life of the Party in the past. And even though we do get a little bit of interesting writing on Bully, it's not that memorable. It says a lot when the bar that comes to mind when I'm thinking of the lyrics is, "Bet you wonder where the F I been, back to life like an EpiPen." It's so stupid. It's like a so bad it's good kind of line, and it's the only sort of moment of Kanye using his more humorous side on the project. I get that the album is meant to be a bit more dark and introspective, but even on deeper albums like Donda, like 808s, we did get some of his patented humour coming through. So my overall thoughts on the album as a whole. Bully is a real mixed bag for me. I wanted to like the album more than I actually did, and there are indeed highs and lows on the project. It's the start of a new era for Kanye, and I think that if we go in the direction of the best songs on this album with their dark, sort of moody atmosphere alongside the industrial sounds, we're in for a real treat on his next project. I want to see what you can create next. I want to see if this collaboration with Travis Scott is really going to happen, because despite Father not being the best song on the album, it is one of the better tracks. Unfortunately, I don't have very high hopes for any of this happening due to how inconsistent Ye has been over the past 5 years, as well as traumatizing us with everything we got on Vultures 1, Vultures 2, as well as those singles that just they torment us from last year. It really scares me for his future career, what he put out in 2025. I find it so frustrating hearing all the leaks, all the singles that released before Bully, and knowing that they sounded unfinished, or that even in some cases they sounded better before they came out on the studio version. We still got a jumbled together track list after all this time, which is disappointing, but yeah, that's what I kind of expected that. Overall, I'm going to have to put Bully in high D tier. I'm sorry, it's going to have to go in high D tier. I wanted to put it in C, but yeah, the quality of the track list really does dip in the second half. If it was like a 25-minute album with just the best songs, sure, high C tier, potentially low B tier if they fix the mixing. I think if they do go back and change up the track list a little bit like they did on Life of Pablo when that was first released, then there is potential for it to move up, in my opinion. However, in the state that we currently have it, it is unfinished, it is demo tapes, so I'm not that impressed, although I do have a few songs that have gone on my playlist now. Please let me know what you think of Bully in the comments down below. Let me know what I missed, what my worst takes in this video are, what you agree with me on, more importantly, because these takes are 100% correct and infallible. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it if you stayed until the end. Again, this is just my opinion. We're just having a bit of fun here. If you would like to subscribe, then I will be uploading a couple more Bully related videos in the next few days, including I'm going to be ranking all the tracks from best to worst, as well as finally putting out a Kanye West tier list of all of his albums, seeing where Bully fits into the mix. So thank you guys, I'll see you in the next one.